What if the land you call home was also claimed by someone else? How would you navigate the complexities of such a situation? These questions encapsulate the essence of the Israel-Palestine conflict. The struggle for this land, imbued with historical, religious and cultural significance, has echoed through the decades, shaping the lives of millions. And even now, in the year 2023, its relevance persists. This conflict has sparked debates, incited violence, and at times ignited hopes for peace. Today, we will delve into this contentious issue, tracing its origins, its milestones, and its current state. This video will guide you through a timeline of the conflict from its origins to the present day. The roots of the Israel-Palestine conflict trace back to the late 19th and early 20th centuries. This was a time of great change, a time when ideas were shaping the future of nations, and one such idea was Zionism. Born out of the desire to establish a Jewish homeland as a response to increasing anti-Semitism in Europe, Zionism gained momentum in the late 19th century. Theodor Herzl, often hailed as the father of modern political Zionism, passionately advocated for a sovereign Jewish state. Fast forward to the early 20th century, World War I was raging and alliances were shifting. Britain, in a strategic move, issued the Balfour Declaration in 1917. This brief letter, penned by the then British Foreign Secretary Arthur Balfour, promised the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. It was a pivotal moment, giving a significant boost to the Zionist movement. In the years that followed, waves of Jewish immigrants fleeing persecution and seeking refuge made their way to Palestine. This influx wasn't without consequence. The demographic shift led to rising tensions between the incoming Jewish population and the existing Arab inhabitants. The seeds of discord were sown, setting the stage for a conflict that would span decades. The complexity of the situation was compounded further by the geopolitical context of the time. The British Mandate of Palestine, the aftermath of World War II, and the horrors of the Holocaust all played crucial roles in shaping the trajectory of the conflict. The world was changing rapidly, and the promise of a Jewish homeland became a reality with the establishment of the State of Israel in 1948. But with every action, there is a reaction. The displacement of Palestinian Arabs, the establishment of a Jewish state, and the subsequent wars and uprisings have all contributed to the escalation of the Israel-Palestine conflict. These events laid the groundwork for the decades-long conflict that persists today. The roots of the struggle run deep, intertwined with issues of identity, land, and rights. The path to peace is complex, but understanding the origins of the conflict is a crucial step towards finding a resolution. The year 1947 marked a turning point in the Israel-Palestine conflict. This was when the United Nations, in an attempt to resolve the ongoing dispute, proposed what's known as the Partition Plan. This plan suggested dividing the land of Palestine into two states, one Jewish and one Arab, while Jerusalem would be under international administration due to its religious significance. The Jewish Agency for Palestine, representing the Jewish community, accepted the plan. However, the Arab League and Palestinian Arab leaders rejected it, objecting to the concept of partitioning the land and refusing to recognize a Jewish state. In response to the UN's proposal and the subsequent end of British Mandate for Palestine in May 1948, David Ben-Gurion, the head of the Jewish Agency, declared the establishment of the State of Israel. The very next day, a coalition of Arab states, including Egypt, Syria, Jordan and Iraq, launched a military intervention, marking the beginning of the 1948 Arab-Israeli War. The war was a tumultuous period, characterized by intense fighting and significant population shifts. Hundreds of thousands of Palestinians were displaced from their homes, an issue that remains a major point of contention to this day. On the other side of the conflict, the newly formed Israeli Defense Forces managed to repel the Arab coalition. By the end of the war in 1949, Israel had not only defended its territory but also expanded its borders beyond the boundaries set by the UN's partition plan. The 1948 Arab-Israeli War resulted in an Israeli victory and set the stage for further tension. This war and the events leading up to it left an indelible mark on the region. It intensified the sense of grievance among Palestinians and hardened attitudes on both sides, setting the stage for the decades of conflict that would follow. As we'll see in the next scene, the Six-Day War of 1967 was another pivotal moment in this ongoing saga. Fast forward to 1967, a year that forever changed the landscape of the Middle East. In mid-1967, tensions escalated into what is now known as the Six-Day War. The war was a short but intense conflict involving Israel and the neighboring states of Egypt, Jordan and Syria. The war was named for its brevity, but its impact was anything but fleeting. The Six-Day War erupted over territorial disputes and fears of an impending attack on Israel. The conflict began with a preemptive Israeli strike that decimated the Egyptian Air Force. Followed by ground offensives, Israel swiftly captured the Sinai Peninsula from Egypt, the West Bank and East Jerusalem from Jordan, and the Golan Heights from Syria. The war concluded with a UN-brokered ceasefire, but the aftermath had set a new geopolitical reality. The victory expanded Israel's territory threefold, placing it in control of significant strategic and populated areas. The most consequential of these were the West Bank, East Jerusalem, and the Gaza Strip, areas with a large Palestinian population. This territorial gain was a triumph for some, but it also meant the start of an occupation for others. Many Palestinians found themselves under Israeli control, leading to a dramatic increase in tension and friction between Israelis and Palestinians. The Six-Day War's consequences are still felt today. The territories Israel occupied in 1967 have been at the heart of subsequent peace negotiations, and their legal status remains a contentious issue. The question of how to achieve a just and lasting peace, given the realities on the ground, has proven to be an incredibly complex challenge. Moreover, the war altered the regional dynamics. It marked the beginning of a shift in the Arab world's approach towards Israel, from a quest for eradication to eventual acceptance of its existence. However, the path to peace and mutual recognition has been and continues to be fraught with setbacks. The Six-Day War further complicated the Israel-Palestine conflict, setting a new status quo. The 1990s brought hope for peace with the Oslo Accords, but this was short-lived. The Oslo Accords, signed in the early 90s, represented a historic step towards resolving the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. They marked the first time that both parties formally recognized each other's rights to self-determination. For a period, there was relative calm and optimism. The Accords proposed a 5-year interim period of Palestinian self-governance in the West Bank and Gaza Strip, with the hope that this would lead to a final agreement. However, the promise of the Accords began to unravel. Disputes over settlements, security and borders persisted. In the year 2000, the Second Intifada erupted, a period of intensified Israeli-Palestinian violence. The word Intifada translates to uprising or shaking off in Arabic, and this period was indeed a violent shake-up. It saw suicide bombings, military operations and widespread protests. The death toll was high on both sides, and the violence created deep-seated mistrust and hostility. The Second Intifada had a profound impact on the peace process. It led to a hardening of attitudes and a shift in power dynamics. The hope ignited by the Oslo Accords dimmed drastically, as each side blamed the other for the failure to maintain peace. This period of violence marked a significant turning point, and the effects are still felt today. The Second Intifada marked a significant setback in the peace process. In the past few years, the conflict has seen some significant developments. One of the most notable changes was the United States' recognition of Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. This move sparked considerable controversy, as Jerusalem holds significant religious and cultural importance to both Israelis and Palestinians. In addition to this, the Abraham Accords, a series of agreements normalizing relations between Israel and several Arab nations, marked a significant shift in the region's dynamics. Spearheaded by the United States, these accords have been hailed as a step towards peace. Yet they also raise questions about the future of the Palestinian cause. Meanwhile, another significant development has been the shift in global sympathy towards the Palestinians. Tensions escalated during shared religious observances, leading to violent incidents and a subsequent shift in perspectives. A Gallup poll found that sympathy for Palestinians among US adults reached a new high of 31%, suggesting a change in American perceptions of the conflict. This shift was particularly noticeable among Democrats, with 49% sympathizing with Palestinians compared to 38% sympathizing with Israelis. Political independents also showed increased sympathy for Palestinians, reaching a new high of 32%. Despite these changes, overall support for the State of Israel remains strong, with 68% of Americans viewing Israel favorably. These recent developments show that the Israel-Palestine conflict remains a relevant and evolving issue. The Israel-Palestine conflict is a complex and ongoing issue with deep historical roots. We've journeyed through its origins, navigating the pivotal moments like the Arab-Israeli War and the SixDay War. We've delved into significant milestones such as the Oslo Accords and touched on the current affairs that continue to shape this intricate narrative. Recent developments indicate shifting perspectives, adding another layer to this multifaceted issue. As we grapple with these complexities, it's crucial to remember that understanding the past and present of this conflict can help us hope for and work towards a peaceful resolution in the future.